Hi guys, welcome back to Bible Time with Mrs. Barr. So we are going from an exciting missionary journey, seeing people come to the Lord. But the next title is Paul and Silas in prison. We are going to be looking at Acts chapter 16, verses 16 to 24. Let's go ahead and dive in. Once, when we were going to the place of prayer, we were met by a female slave who had a spirit by which she predicted the future. She earned a great deal of money for her owners by fortune telling. She followed Paul and the rest of us, shouting, These men are servants of the Most High God, who are telling you the way to be saved. She kept this up for many days. Finally, Paul became so annoyed that he turned around and said to the spirit, In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out of her. At that moment, the spirit left her. When her owners realized that their hope of making money was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to face the authorities. They brought them before the magistrate and said, These men are Jews and are throwing our city into an uproar by advocating customs unlawful for us Romans to accept or practice. The crowd joined in the attack against Paul and Silas, and the magistrate ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. After they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When he received their orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. Okay, so they were going to the place of prayer, or maybe what we would consider to be a church, and they were doing this on a daily basis. They met a female slave who had an evil spirit in her that gave her the ability to tell fortunes, and her slave owners were making a bunch of money off of her. And each day she was just shouting and saying who they were. And it's just like if you have that child that's like, Mom, 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 and they're just so annoyed. I can just imagine Paul turning around and like, be quiet, you're just being loud, you're being annoying. And so he got annoyed with it. He knew what was going on. So he's like, done with you, evil spirit, out. And then her owners figured out what was going on, and they were upset because they were making money off of her. So they seized Paul and Silas, dragged them into the marketplace where business and courts and things were done, and told the magistrate what that was going on, and said, these are Jews, we are Romans. They're trying to make people do, Jewish things when we're Romans. We don't practice those things. They got the crowd all riled up, and the next thing, Paul and Barnabas are stripped naked and are beaten with rods, and they were severely flogged. Like, they were probably very close to death at this point. And then they were thrown in prison. The jailer was told to watch them carefully, so he puts them in the inner room, and if that's not enough, they put them in stocks, which is like putting their feet in these things and a lot of times they'll even raise it up, and so they're just laying on their backs, not able to move, not able to do anything. So it's a price that they were definitely paying. And I want to pause here for a minute. We're done specifically talking about Acts 16, 16 to 24, but I want you to realize, and I want you to know, that even though we specifically might not be experiencing this or going through this, there are people still today that are persecuted in this very similar way. There are believers in China that have had to go through this. There are believers in North Korea and like Iran and just all these different places. These people are being brutally tortured, and a lot of times it's just for their words or who they were hanging out with or what they were doing. So I know some of you have mentioned before, like, this kind of thing doesn't happen nowadays. Yes it does. It might look different for us, and where we are, and in the US. Excuse me. But there are people around the world that are being brutally persecuted on a daily basis, and I feel like we're letting them down when we forget or we ignore it or just think that it's not happening, because it is. And so that's an important thing to remember. So anyways, this is Acts chapter 16 verses 16 to 24. We'll see you next time. Bye. God bless.